Alright. Sorry. I'm here. I'm here. My mic was muted. Apologize for that. I'm here. Don't worry. I don't know why I have my mic muted. But anyways. What's going on, guys? It's Ditchtoe. What the heck is wrong with my laptop? Jeez. What's going on? Let me try that again. What's up, guys? It's Ditchtoe here, and today we're at part 2 of we're at the same day of part 2 of this Forge tutorial on how to build Forerunner stuff in MCC and natural terrain. I am so sorry that was so hard to say. I don't know what the heck is wrong with me. But we are going to continue to finish this off. Now, this structure is not going to have anything in it, so we're going to block this off with God knows what yet. We'll figure that out. I guess we could use some Coliseum Walls. Let's see where we could... Oh, Lord, frame rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to make it look like this is shut off by like some type of Forerunner door. You know what? I don't know. And... You know what? Why is there magnets on? Okay, there we go. And... This is probably the best we got. This is actually not... That's actually not terrible, but if it sticks out... Okay, never mind. That's perfectly fine. Alright, there. We got a Forerunner door. Alright, that's the best we got, and that's what we're going to roll with. We're going to do that, and we're fine. Alright, anyways. Now, what we're going to start off with in this part, we're going to start off with the top of it. Now, from down here, you can't really see a whole lot, but we want people to be able to see, like, there's some more structure up here. And right now, I don't really exactly know how I did it for the last map that I made. Okay, it's not that one. We need the cylinder large. Now, you need the cylinder large for this. Now, what we're going to be building here is we're going to be building like a Forerunner Pylon. I think that's what those are called. I'm not sure. The things that shoot off the, the Forerunner activation thingamajigger and all Halo games. Yes, I called it a thingamajigger because I don't know what it's called. Now, the next thing you're going to need is a large walkway. Now, this here is actually probably the most, like, a really simple thing to build, if I'm going to be honest. If you have a hard time building this, then there's absolutely something wrong. This structure is really, really simple to make. This is something that you can make for just small little structures around, like, a map. It doesn't have to be super great. Now, as I did say that to put this down to kind of give a more of a like gap between these and what's going to be up here, I think I put 2 down on my last map, on my cartographer map. So to be safe, put 2 of these one on top of the other, so that way this doesn't kind of bleed in and shows through here. So that way your map doesn't have like something peeking through the ceiling and someone look up and be like, "What the heck is that?" But, now with that, from down here, that looks kind of okay. But if we want the full effect of what we're trying to get... Actually, no, that's... Let's flip this actually the other way. Let's see. Which has more to it. That one, or... I think the other side has more to it, yeah. This side will be fine. Alright. Use this side, not the other side that has the more detailed looking area. Use this side. It's just a straight angle down. That's it. Now the second bit that you need is the large walkway cover. Now what this will do, this is going to give the structure a little bit more of a Forerunner kind of like feel to it. We're going to put this here. For some reason, I don't know why that does that. We're going to have... You want this little piece that kind of connects the walkway to that connects the one thing to the other thing. That's what we're just going to say. You want this one to be barely against that railing, and you have this little kind of structure design, and it looks pretty cool from a good distance, and it's not too complicated. It's kind of like your own Forerunner design, and that's the best we got. Now, if you want something a little bit more like a little bit more with decoration, kind of like I have on my map, you can put one of these down up here if you want to. This is entirely up to you. It just kind of depends on how you ended up building it, because the way I built it on my map, it kind of looked like this needed to be here. But if you built it really well, a lot better than I did, then this doesn't need to be here. This can be how, kind of like wherever you, if you need it. Again, only if you need it, to make the structure look a little bit better than what it does at the moment. Now, to be honest, this actually looks pretty okay if it's like this. I can just center that, there we go. That actually kind of makes it look a little bit better. And there we got the Forerunner entrance to the, well, kind of like the most of the Forerunner entrance here. Now, on the cartographer map, there was a cover bit there. Now, how that was made, I used, I think it was the Y platform. Yes, it was the Y platform. Now, what I tried to do was, I tried to make sure that these two bits here, the bottom of this, was centered with the whole hallway here. I tried to make sure this was centered. Try to make sure it wasn't too far up out of the ground to where it was hard to walk around and it took a long time. I wanted it to have its own, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like too much of a large walkway, and you just take two of these, put them like that. It's very simple. Now, as we can see here, this is not completely even, so there we go. And then the next thing that I did was I used a brace to add the rest of the effect to it. I put this right about here, try to make sure that it's, centered on that, and kind of just had it sit right about here. So that way it has a cover piece to go inside, so that way you don't get shot in the back, because this is pretty low, and you could easily get shot in the back. Now, for the more decorative bits of the front area, we are going to use struts. The strut bits, what I used for it is we tried to. Sorry that the whistle was really loud. I just now heard it on the playback. That actually hurt my ear. We're gonna try to put this right about here. Now, when I built this, I think I used two ramps, which kind of, for the entrance here. For some reason, I have built this slightly different. I don't know how that happened. I don't know what the heck happened. That's not going to work because I won't be able to grab that. But we'll put this one here. And try to put it up again. Now, the hardest part about this is now some people might say, why don't you use the edit coordinates? Well, if I use the coordinates for these objects, if I'm going to be honest, the reasons why I don't use the coordinates is because it will, as you can see here, if you move it by a notch, it's not evened. It's not even out. So it won't. I try to have a more precise thing with what I use. There might be a map where I will probably use edit coordinates and see what the map might turn out to look like. But that will be for something in the future. Now, for more cover at the front, the last thing you're going to put, and it doesn't need to look super pretty, is a curved. I was looking at that for the thing. Is a curved wall. Now, what we probably want this at is 15 degrees, so that way we can put it right here. We'll put it right here. Now, what you want it to be at, a decent height so you can crouch behind it, but at the same time, you want to be able to shoot over it if you're making something like that. So, right about here, this is probably like the best height in my opinion, where like this little gap here is kind of almost touching that. Because again, this does ramp down. You can go up and down this. Judging by the forge ball, it does not look like you can, but we will hope and pray that that's just the forge ball's hitbox thing doing what it's doing. But we'll then put this one here, and we got Now, there is cover blocks that you could use, but the reason why I don't use those is because those don't really look great. Because if you were to put this here, it's gonna stick up like it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb, and if you were to put it in, it's not gonna. I guess it's not really gonna fit fully with the object. And it's just gonna kind of stick out. But here we got the front entrance of the Forerunner structure. I'm actually kind of forgetting some important details. Is some of the struts that I had at the front. If you want to add more. Now this here is actually up to you. If you want to add more detail to it, if you want to add more struts, if you want to add, you know, more objects, this is entirely up to you. Hello people who are watching the stream. Hope you're enjoying this little first view of something that's I'm going to put on YouTube later. Put the struts there, and you get a little bit more detail at the front door. But this is the front area of the cartographer-looking Forerunner building, and the interior can kind of look however you want. That is entirely up to you. Now we're going to work on terrain, and this video is going to probably go out. It's probably going to be longer due to terrain, because terrain is something that I like to spend a lot of time on. There we go. Now, the terrain for your map can kind of be however you want it. If you want it to be if you want to have a lot of hills on it, if you want it to have some rivers, if you want it to have a lot of just a big flat open plain, you know, do what you want. I like kind of just like a simple flat terrain area with a few hills here and there, and it's like you can see things from kind of like a distance, and that's some of the things that I like. Now, if you want to have rivers, you can kind of do what I'm doing here. Make sure you kind of tip the flat terrain a little bit, because if you're wanting like little streams, creeks, or whatever else, you kind of need to tip these, turn these a certain way to make it look the way that you want it. Now, this is probably going to be the last part. I'm going to try to make this to be the last part of the video. Well, the last part of this little Forge tutorial. Hopefully, that'll be the case. But with these cliffs, what we're going to do... Now, with a lot of cliffs, you have to be careful with how you place things, because if you're not careful with how you place things, it could look slightly off and not look the way that it should. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to try to make this look like there's a path that's somewhere back here. So we're going to have another one of these large cliffs. Put this kind of like this. And because it's curved, it makes it look like there's a curved pathway going around this way. Now, you want to make sure that you want to make sure that it kind of looks like it keeps going. Because if not, if you're at a different angle, it's like, is there actually anything back there, or is it just there for aesthetic looks from a certain angle? You want to make sure that it keeps its its look going. And if there's a way for people to jump to see that there's no terrain, then the people can see if people can see that there's no terrain, then you've kind of failed the aesthetically pleasing part of maps. What I mean by fail, I'm not talking about like an epic fail, but you might want to put down a little bit of this type of flat terrain, kind of give it a feel like there's more up here, and if you want to put a few trees, you can too. Now, if I'm going to be honest, I don't like doing this. I'm not a person that makes background stuff. I'm a person that likes to make big open areas for like a place that everyone can explore. Everything is accessible. That's what I like to do. But for the sake of a map like hello. But for the sake of making a map like this, we're gonna do this currently the way that I'm doing it now. Now, Halo 2's Forge is a little bit funky. Now I'm putting a lot of cliffs around here because a lot of the terrain is going to be sticking up out of the ground, and we don't want too much of it to be seen sticking up out of the ground. Now when we get to this part, when we get to a certain part of the terrain of the cliffs, we kind of want to start making sure that everything isn't going to look the exact same. We're going to turn this one like this. And if I can get a decent view, kind of make sure there's a cliff, little bit of a cliff there, but we want to give this a look like that. And we want to keep this up, going all the way around up to a certain point. And there we go. Now that we have our cliffs, now that we have the little outline here, now if you have a bit of a map for people to... Can we not do that, sir? Okay. There we go. Now, we want to try to keep this map... We want to kind of keep the theme... let's see. Well, my brain just kind of died. Let's see what else we can do here. Alright. Looking around the map, this is what we have right now. This is what we have when the lighting's generated. Now, this is not this is not what this will look like in your custom game. I will tell you that right now. If you saw the Cartograph video, the map was a lot darker. Only in Forge, for some weird reason, Bungie, please... Well, not Bungie. 343, please fix this. 343, fix the lighting on a wash. It is very weird. The lighting is darker in custom game than it is in Forge. I don't know why. I hope they fix that because this looks beautiful. It looks better in Forge than it does in custom game, and that's kind of sad. But right now, we kind of have the aesthetic look of what we have right here. I'm not going to keep making stuff going out and making it really big. What we're going to do now is add the foliage. Now, the foliage to the map, trees are random. And what I mean by trees are random, the one thing that I hate, I see people doing is something like this. Is they just... That does not look good. That looks bad. Terrible. Just, it's awful. Please, no one ever do that. Please, no one ever just constantly place trees of the same height. The best thing you can do for placing trees is different heights, different areas. So, for me... If I'm putting trees down, especially over here. Hang on. Ugh. Good lord, that was a sneeze. What we'll do here is we'll put these trees like this. Now you can't add... Now there is a smaller version of these trees, and it is tree 04. Now what you'll want is a large, so that way it's not super small. Now they're a little bit more... They're a little bit more rough than these trees being smoothed out going upwards, as you can kind of tell the difference. But we have, now I will say if you want to, now one thing you want to do is kind of turn these around so they're not all facing the same direction, because you can see right here at the bottom, these leaves, it kind of sticks out right here. So if all of them are facing the same way, you don't want it to be like a repeated pattern of the same tree over and over again. You want the trees to look natural and different, because... Again, nature is random. Nature is never kind of like repeats itself. When you go out into the real world, not every single tree is going to look the same. And so if some do, it's just because someone trimmed it. But that's some common sense, and if you don't have the common sense, well, Lord help you. But now for an area like this, you don't really need too many trees, but if you want to put quite a few down, I mean, that's but you'll have to be kind of careful with how you place them and where you place them, because a lot of these trees, depending on what you do and how you do it, will kind of like dictate. I don't really know, dictate how the map looks, if I'm using that word correctly. It'll make the map look a certain way, and if you want your map to look really good, I kind of just make sure that you're not placing too many trees, because some maps that I've seen on Halo 5 or on any game, they can look really good, but a lot of them just have too many trees. Now, if you're going for a forest look, that's fine. But if it's a small enclosed map that that doesn't look like it needs a bunch of, like it. I'm trying to speak, but I don't know what to say. If it doesn't need a forest, it doesn't need a forest. There, that's the best way I can word it. But here, right now, this map, this kind of looks like all the trees that it needs. We don't really need a whole lot of trees over here. But we have this layout. This is this amount of trees that you need for something like this. That's good. Now, if you want to put some rocks down, put some of these down. Now, for rocks like these, I'm going to show a little trick that I have. If you're putting rocks like these down, because there is a small shortage of rocks in this game, what you can do is you can turn these upside down, turn these a certain way, kind of phase them like that, and kind of make the rocks look a little bit different, so that way it kind of looks like a chunk, like a big huge chunk. And if you want to put a few small ones just kind of sitting around, you can too. If you have the big chunk rocks, kind of mix and match like other rocks together, so that way it's not like it's not just kind of sitting there by itself. And if there's a place where it can sit by itself, kind of like this, it looks fine. But we'll just put a few rocks down. We're not going to put too many down, because this side of the map does not need too many rocks. Now, what we'll probably do with this one is we'll probably face this one this way. Go to this rock, and kind of do something like this. We'll kind of give it a base, and there we go. We got that there. Now, if you want to do I will show this off. Now, there is something you can do if you want to have like a nice little runoff of rocks, like a little runoff. I'm trying to explain. Actually, I'll show that off in like a different video in the future. But here we got the base part of our map. We got everything we kind of need right here. Now we'll generate the lighting, see how everything looks. Now look at this. This here is beautifully aesthetic in my opinion. That's kind of how I feel about it. Now if you want to add bushes, if you want to add a bush, something, or like some type of grass, use these trees. Tree 1. Tree 1 is perfect for this. You can kind of just have these sit up like right around here, kind of peeking up out of an object. Now be careful, because if you do put it in the ground, you'll never get that thing back. You'll have to delete all of that object. But that, again, this is entirely up to you of how you want to do it. I'm just kind of here just as the guide to help you get there. If you want to do it your own way, if you want it to kind of stick in the ground, that's up to you. But here we can just add a few bushes. Now I will warn, these bushes will not always be like glowing green, because again, the skybox in custom game is not the greatest on this map. In custom game, again, it's very, very buggy. I don't know why. Hopefully 343 will fix it. But there, we got the bushes, we got some little bit more foliage, and we generate lighting one more time. We have a nice, beautiful, aesthetic-like map. Now, now I will have this on my file share for people to come look at. I will probably put a I won't have it available right away after when this video is uploaded. I will probably still be working on some areas to kind of make more of an aesthetic map out of it, because I kind of like how this layout is, and I might just have this as like something for somebody to go look at me like, oh, this is cool. Kind of just as like a, again, as most aesthetic maps are, something just to look at. But I hope you guys enjoyed this two-parter, little video, set of videos for a Forge tutorial. If you did, leave a like. If it was helpful to build stuff, leave a like, comment, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to this channel. Now, because I'm on MCC and these are MCC videos, these are not the only Halo videos I'll be making. I will be making Halo 5 Forge stuff too, but I won't be forging a lot on there as much as I used to, because my brain is kind of just not with forging on that game as much as I was when I first started forging. I hope to get back into it, but we'll just see how that goes. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.